Good Saturday morning, everybody. Meteorologist Johnny Lively to do our weekend update because we have lots to talk about already this morning. We have moderate to heavy rain moving into the Houston Metroplex area. Lots of lightning near Angleton to Lake Jackson. This band of rain is going to continue moving along the coast in the Interstate 10 corridor, getting into Winnie, Port Arthur, and Beaumont really around, I would say, in the next couple of hours, and then continue moving into Lake Charles about mid-morning this morning. 1 to 2 inches of rain is likely today because of all the rain that we have, and this will last kind of off and on throughout the day, and then we don't see that colder air start moving into our region mainly this evening and into overnight tonight. Here we are. You can see that the winter storm has pretty much already started for the Lone Star State and already Louisiana. -1 degrees in Amarillo this morning, Wichita at 12, Dallas at 30 degrees. We're already seeing that transition to the freezing rain that started beginning last night and continues for Dallas, Fort Worth, and the Waco region. And you can see Shreveport's at 20 degrees already, but down here locally, big change, still into the 40s and 50s across the region. Look far to the north, -11 degrees, -15 in Minneapolis, Oklahoma City in the single digits, and then here locally across southeast Texas, southwest Louisiana, we're mainly into the 40s and 50s. Far to the north, you can see that cold front is already rushing its way down, already into the 30s and 40s. St. Augustine at 35 degrees. So we are not too far away from the potential for freezing rain in areas like Lufkin and St. Augustine and Hemphill, possibly later this afternoon, getting into the evening. And we'll talk more on that just a second. Here's the last 6 hours of satellite and radar. Notice central to the southern half of Texas is in green. That's rain. And then you start getting to the more northern portions. You got the purple and the blue. That is freezing rain to sleet. And the purple and the blue is going to be the snow. So a really messy situation is kind of setting up for the Dallas-Fort Worth area, parts of central Texas. We're already starting to see the travel disruptions begin. And notice that the Interstate 10 corridor from Houston to Beaumont to Lake Jackson, we have somewhat of a warm sector here. That's going to stick around all day long and pretty much till tonight. We're going to have cold rain all day today and majority of tonight. We don't see that warm sector really start kind of moving out until we get into Sunday morning. So Sunday morning is when we can start seeing the chance for freezing rain all across the board, even down to the I-10 corridor and coast. Construction forecast for today. We just talked about the radar. Lots of rain just to the west. That means it's going to be a rainy morning and really kind of a rainy day today, sponsored by Modern Concrete Materials. We're kind of hunkering down for the winter storm anyway, so I'm not too sure how much we're really getting accomplished today. We're kind of preparing for the cold temperatures, especially a hard freeze Sunday night into Monday morning. So construction and anything outdoor-wise, it's going to be tough. Mainly, we're just going to be getting ready for the cold temperatures. Lots of rain is on the way today with 1 to 2 inches possible. Winter storm alerts. You can see the large portion of Texas, and I mean, you in the pink, that is a winter storm warning. And one of the biggest things that I think we're concerned about is the areas just north of the I-10 corridor. I mean, there's all types of colors, but one of the ones we will be looking at is that ice storm warning. That is something very dangerous that you'll be messing with. Look how that spreads from East Texas into central and northern Louisiana, especially into Mississippi. That part of Mississippi, getting close to Tupelo, this could be a crippling effect with how much ice they could possibly have. An inch and a half is not impossible. Here locally, just north of the I-10 corridor, a half an inch of ice can be possible. Just throwing out some names like D. Ritter and Jasper, maybe Silsbee, Livingston. These areas, a half an inch of ice is possible. So that's the reason that there is an ice storm warning issued for those areas. Snow lovers, if you're looking for the snow, you got to go far to the north. It's showing that we might get a glaze of snow in Beaumont. Yeah, I don't see it happening. If we do, it has to come from lake effect snow coming up late Sunday night into Monday. Not saying that's impossible, but if you're looking for the snow, it's far to the north. It's in Lubbock, Oklahoma, up to Arkansas. You can see up to 15 to 20 inches of snow possibly in parts of Oklahoma getting into Arkansas. And then just south of that is where the freezing rain and the sleet potential is. Dallas-Fort Worth, they're getting the freezing rain and sleet right now, and then they can get another 1 to 2 inches of snow on top of that. How come we're talking about freezing temperatures, but we're not getting snow here in southeast Texas, southwest Louisiana? Well, if you slide over to the second, you can see right here, if we put the mouse, this is what we'll be dealing with. This is the surface, right? So we'll be freezing on Sunday morning at the surface where we are. But if you were to release a weather balloon, the higher you go up into the atmosphere, you have a warm layer. So just throwing out some numbers, could be 30 degrees at the surface. Could be 34, 35, 36 degrees the higher you go. So snowing high up top goes through the melting layer. It melts, gets down to the surface, it freezes. We have freezing rain. Last year, when we had all that snow, there's no melting layer at all from the surface all the way up. So unfortunately, we just have the potential for freezing rain because we have that warm layer just above the surface that's going to melt. And then by the time it gets to the surface, it refreezes. Unfortunately, we do not have this type of setup, which we saw last year. We have a warm layer, so this kills our chance of having snow. Let's put the Futurecast in motion. We have a lot of pause points here, and the show is kind of a little bit longer than how it typically is, but we have a lot going on. We've got the rain over there towards Houston, just to the west of Beaumont. That's going to continue moving down I-10 and the coast throughout the morning. 1 to 2 inches of rain can be possible, if not likely, today. Notice to the northern counties, that purple and pink, that's the freezing rain. That is going to be transitioning later this afternoon, especially into the evening time. Woodlands, Woodville, Jasper could start seeing that freezing rain later this evening. This model's showing it down towards the I-10 corridor. I don't think it will be towards the I-10 corridor this evening, mainly overnight, especially around daybreak coming up on Sunday. But notice that tight gradient. I mean, I-10 corridor down towards the coast, still in the green and cold rain. And just north of the I-10 corridor, you're already seeing the freezing rain. So it's such a tight gradient. And then you can see overnight tonight, it just continues, especially for the northern sections of the I-10 corridor. This is why they have that ice storm warning. They can get rounds of freezing rain. This continues overnight tonight. So we get into 2 o'clock on Sunday morning. Notice south of the I-10 corridor, it still has green and the cold rain. Along the I-10 corridor north, possibly freezing rain, but especially towards the northern sections like Woodlands and Liberty and Woodville and Jasper, that freezing rain continues. Here we are at 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning. Look to the west, Liberty. That is pretty heavy precipitation rates. So I think at this time, Interstate 10 should be at freezing rain at this time. All of the regions to the north should have freezing rain. Down towards the south, questionable. Could be just cold rain. But at this time on Sunday at 4 to 5 a.m., all across the board should be kind of transitioning to freezing rain. But the good news is, notice how fast that it goes. So if at 7 o'clock in the morning, the whole region is seeing the freezing rain, even high islands being past Port Arthur and Beaumont, notice how fast it continues to move. By 9 o'clock in the morning, it's at southwest Louisiana. We continue to go. By 10, 11 o'clock, it's out of the area. So really the biggest thing, and notice the model's wanting to pick up some lake effect snow from some of the lakes. I mean, we'll be into the teens to low 20s Sunday night into Monday morning. So lake effect snow is not impossible. I just always find that very neat. But the biggest thing that we're going to see today is rain is going to be off and on really today. Mainly this morning is the moderate to heavy rainfall, 1 to 2 inches. This evening, our northern counties, like up here, north of the I-10, going away. So up here, we can see the potential for freezing rain later this evening. Houston, Beaumont, Lake Charles, freezing rain potential is really Sunday morning. So we're going to continue to keep watching this, but kind of want to show the ice accumulation maps here. Don't really like showing this because a lot of people lock into a city and think, oh, we're not going to get that much, or right down the road, they get a lot more. That's just how weather works. I mean, when we're talking about heavy rainfall events, we say, hey, the potential for 1 to 2 inches of rain is possible. Isolated up to 3 inches. My house got a half an inch. 2 blocks away, got 2.5 inches away. So the same thing is with the ice accumulations. Just get a general region. We think the I-10 corridor and south, 1/10 of an inch is possible, maybe a little bit higher than that, but 1/10 of an inch is possible. Should not be any major concerns, just an inconvenience. Slow down when traveling. North of the I-10 corridor, 1/4 of an inch up to 1/2 an inch, if not slightly higher totals, are possible. That's the main takeaway that we really want to kind of go with this. We have 2 different sections, north of I-10 and then I-10 and south. I-10 in south, 1/10 of an inch and less. I-10 in north, you have the potential for up to 1/2 an inch, if not slightly higher totals. One thing that we will watch is those areas, especially to the north of the I-10 corridor, you get 1/4 of an inch, you get 1/2 an inch, if not a little bit more than that. You add in 20 to 25, if not 30-mile-an-hour wind gusts coming up on Sunday morning. This can cause some problems if some of the tree branches and power lines are getting weighted down. Look how large this system spans across the United States. Somebody having at least minor impacts, 1,500 to 2,000 miles wide. Biggest areas are really going to be into parts of East Texas along I-20, getting into Shreveport, Monroe, but the further east that you go, you get into the purple from Greenville to Greenwood to Tupelo, Mississippi. An inch to an inch and a half is possible. This could have power outages not only for days, but for weeks. And this is the crippling effect when you talk about traveling. You just won't be traveling in these zones. It's going to be pretty tough. Notice parts of what we call the Lakes region is in red. I mean, even Cleveland, Livingston, Woodville, Jasper. This could be pretty bad traveling wise. So we kind of need to shut things down as we get later tonight, especially on Sunday. And the further south that you get to that I-10 corridor, if we get up to a tenth of an inch of ice, we can have minor problems traveling wise. And further west towards Houston, we've seen that moderate risk kind of shift a little bit further south. So Houston could get pretty messy coming up on Sunday, especially the overpasses and the bridges, elevated surfaces on those roadways. It can get pretty icy and dicey. So we definitely want to keep everybody kind of, understanding that Sunday is not the best travel day all across the board. Further to the north, it can start later tonight. But on Sunday, we definitely need to be watching for the potential and how icy things can get, especially along the I-10 corridor. Now, black ice can be an issue again on Sunday, and we'll talk about that and the reason why. High temperatures today for the I-10 corridor, mainly into the 50s. The further north that you go, you can see the cold air rushing in. St. Augustine into the 30s, into the 40s, further north that you are. Overnight, it's going to be dropping quick. Those temperatures sponsored by Silsbee Ford get you one. Upper teens up there in St. Augustine, in the 20s for Jasper and Newton. Again, later this evening and tonight, freezing rain is likely for the northern counties and parishes. And along the I-10 corridor, we eventually start seeing the possibility of transitioning to freezing rain once we get into Sunday morning, because those temperatures will be into the low 30s, down towards the coast into the mid to upper 30s overnight tonight. Now, hard freeze conditions coming up Sunday night into Monday morning. Look at Monday morning. We're talking teens into the northern counties and parishes along I-10 into the low 20s, down towards the coast into the mid to upper 20s to low 30s. So all across the board, a hard freeze down towards the coast. Wouldn't say so much a hard freeze, more of a light freeze. And also what we need to keep in the back of our mind is how large this is when we're talking about cold. If you want to find some warm air, you got to go to Miami, because the rest of the country is downright cold. Oklahoma 3 degrees, -1 in Wichita. I was going to see if I had the wind chills. I do not on here, and I apologize for that, but I want to go back on this real quick. Wind chill values coming up Sunday night into Monday morning will be in the single digits to teens. You can see this is the real temperature, so you add in some 5, 10, 15 mile an hour wind gusts, wind chills can be in the teens coming up Sunday night into Monday. So keep that in the back of your mind. That is some extreme temperatures. Pets and animals, they need to get some type of way of getting heat or staying warm. Southeast Texas, here we are the next 5 to 7 days. Take a picture, write it down. You don't see this very often. We do not have 60s or 70s in the forecast the rest of the week. We stay chilly. In fact, look at the mornings coming up. 27 on Sunday, in the upper teens to low 20s Monday and Tuesday morning. That's when the hard freeze conditions is. Lots of sunshine coming Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then another cold front comes back into our region at the end of the week into the weekend as another system comes in. So the big story right now is we've got lots of rain and precipitation on the way today and again on Sunday morning. We see that transition of freezing rain for our northern regions later on this evening and overnight tonight. The I-10 corridor like Houston, Beaumont, Lake Charles, and south. The potential for freezing rain would mainly be tomorrow on Sunday. Same thing for southwest Louisiana. We're watching that cold front move in later this evening and tonight. That's going to make us transition to freezing rain at some point later this evening and overnight tonight, especially on Sunday morning. We're going to be cold on Sunday. I mean, once we get into Sunday evening, we can have the potential, no matter all that rain and precipitation moves out by Sunday afternoon, by Sunday evening, think about all the rain that has fallen, all the precipitation that has fallen, those temperatures drop into the upper teens to low 20s coming up Sunday night. So black ice can be a problem on bridges, overpasses, and roadways coming up Sunday night into Monday morning. But we warm up fairly quickly on Monday, getting into the upper 30s to low 40s. Doesn't seem like that warm, but it is a big difference when you're in the teens. Plenty of sunshine throughout the day on Monday. So during the day on Monday, won't have a problem with freeze. It's in the morning, and then we refreeze again Monday night into Tuesday morning. This is a good time to go download the free Gulf Coast Weather Solutions app. I apologize on how long the show was. Good time to go download the free Gulf Coast Weather Solutions app. We'll keep you updated 24/7. We do plan to possibly do another live video maybe later this evening or again tomorrow, kind of watching how the conditions are. But the good news is this app will continue to keep you updated. We'll continue to have more posts on Facebook and YouTube as well too. We're going to continue to watch how this is breaking down. Want to go back real quick and look at the rain that we're seeing, because we've been talking for a long time now, sounding like an auctioneer. But the moderate to heavy rain has now moved into Liberty, now pushing towards Beaumont into Chambers County already. If I can, I will pause that. Let's go right here. Let's see. So you can see this was at 5:15 this morning. So look how fast this has moved eastward. And here we are, pretty much with the current time at 7:17, has moved east of Houston. Lots of rain down there in Lake Jackson and Alvin, and now we're starting to see some moderate to heavy rain moving just east of Liberty, going down the I-10 corridor, pushing towards Beaumont. Actually had a lightning strike the last minute, it looks like, as well too, pretty close to the I-10 corridor. So thanks for watching the Saturday morning show. We will continue to keep you guys updated. Lots of moving parts going on. Stay warm, because that cold air comes in late tonight and it sticks around. We've got hard freeze conditions Sunday night into Monday morning, and then again Monday night into Tuesday morning. We'll have more updates. You'll have a good Saturday. Stay warm and stay dry.